Hi, I'm Jonathan Pogash, the Cocktail Guru, and welcome to Cocktails the Grand Tour, where we tell the story of mixing it up one cocktail at a time. You know, since its creation, a moment lost to history, but nevertheless argued over since the word cocktail appeared in print, that cocktail has influenced art and dance and film, music, even theater, as well as economics and politics all across the globe. And this show in particular celebrates that global cultural force, that singular icon, drink by drink, no passport required. On this episode, the Flip, one of my absolute favorite cocktails. It is deeply tied to colonial New England. And when I take a taste of this cocktail, it transports me back to colonial New England. It was a 17th century sailor's drink, typically a mix of ale, rum, sugar, and egg. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the method of this cocktail has changed throughout the years. During colonial times, we used to use actually a red hot poker, and we stuck it inside of the drink, and it would warm up the drink, and it would froth and bubble the drink itself, and that would flip the cocktail, right? And it was served warm. We don't really use that anymore. That red hot poker or rod used to be called a flip dog, and that's really where we got the name Flip from. Now, even Charles Dickens was a fan of the Flip. He drank sherry flips, and he even mentioned it in his 1864 book, Our Mutual Friend. Also, one of the first appearances in print of the Flip was in none other than Jerry Thomas, his bartender guide. He included an ale flip, a rum flip, all sorts of flips, sherry flip. Now, like I said, New England, right? It was the center of rum production in the 17th and 18th centuries, which is why our cocktail today, this version, we're going to use rum. And actually, this will be a split base. We call it a split base cocktail because I'm using two different products, two different alcoholic beverages. We're doing equal parts rum, reminiscent of New England, of course, and sherry. Now, sherry was also very popular in colonial New England, and I just love the flavor that sherry imparts on this particular style of cocktail. Now, you can make it with any number of different types of spirits. You could use brandy, you could use whiskey, but there is nothing better, in my opinion, than this particular arrangement of ingredients. So let's go over these ingredients, shall we? Let's start with our bases here, right? Again, split base. I'm using a nice dark rum and aged rum. And I have my sherry here. This is a really nice medium dry sherry. So I want to use something that's not too sweet, not too dry, something kind of in the middle right there. And okay, so we've got our Demerara syrup. So Demerara syrup, it is a simple syrup, and I'm using just actually sugar in the raw. That is a cool cocktail hack. You don't have to use Demerara sugar, rather. You can use turbinado sugar, which is what sugar in the raw is. And it's equal parts, right? And of course, we have our egg, because egg is, of course, that integral ingredient in our cocktail. It is actually the emulsifier for this drink. That is the element that the egg is. You may have had drinks with egg whites create the foam, the froth for cocktails, not necessarily any flavor. But once you add in that egg, you get that creaminess, that nuttiness, that butteriness in your cocktail. And of course, the nutmeg that is in the nose when you add that freshly grated on top. It is our garnish. I think I'm ready to go ahead and show you this cocktail and to shake it up for you. All right, so we'll start off by putting our egg into our mixing glass. And I have, of course, the traditional Boston shaker that I'm going to use to shake my cocktail. I always add in the egg first, and that's because if I have any shell inside of that, then I could just discard the egg and start anew, start afresh. And now let's go ahead and add our aged rum. And I'm doing 1 ounce of my aged rum directly into my mixing glass. I'm using my jigger, of course, making sure everything is precise and measured. There we go. And our sherry. Right, this will add a really nice caramelly touch to our cocktail. And we're adding 1 ounce of our medium dry sherry directly into our mixing glass, just like that. And now we need to kind of balance it out with our Demerara syrup. So let's add 3/4 of an ounce of Demerara syrup into our mixing glass, shall we? There we go. Okay, and that's it. We're going to add ice, and we're going to give this a really nice, healthy shake. Okay, and when I shake my cocktails, I shake for right around 8 Mississippis, and I want to make sure that my mixing glass is completely filled up with ice. I want this drink to be ice cold and have the right amount of water. So I would love for you all to count with me as I shake for 8 Mississippis. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh, there we go. Love that sound. All right, I think that's about 8 Mississippis. What do you think? Were you counting at home? All right. And of course, a flip needs to be enjoyed in a fancy schmancy glass. And I have my fancy cocktail glass right over here. And I'm just going to strain this drink right out. There we go. It has a really nice color. I can see that texture already. And of course, we'll use our trusty old microplane and some freshly grated nutmeg, and just add to the nose, to the entire experience of the cocktail, right? Hold on a second. So this is filled super duper to the brim. I'm going to take it and give a little sip. How about that? Cheers. Hold on 1 second. Oh, it's so good because I get everything. I get all of the elements of this cocktail. I get the egg, the texture, the carameliness, the butteriness from the egg, the sherry and the rum, that Demerara Syrup kind of rounds everything together, and that freshly grated nutmeg right at the nose at the beginning of the drink. When I bring it up to my nose, it really can't be beat. And it is said that every picture tells a story. Well, the same is true of every cocktail. And while each drink a bartender prepares for you, or you mix yourself at home, is certainly and quite literally the sum of its several parts, it's clearly so much more. And until next time, this is Jonathan Pogash, your guide to Cocktails, the Grand Tour. Cheers.